Welcome back to the Hardwood Report, man. We're back, man. Basketball season's in full effect, man. We never leave you guys hanging, man. A lot has happened since we last spoke. Apologies for what happened with our last YouTube video. We had to upload the full length, but we're gonna get back to the clips sooner rather than later. But before we dig into everything that happened since we last spoke, let's dig in and see what the boys been up to. Kev, what you been seeing since we last spoke?
Nothing different. Still, just NBA's in a good spot right now. I'm in second half of the schedule. I feel like COVID's kind of died down in terms of the NBA. They just released the COVID-19
Don't even
vaccine
say that,
measures.
fam. Last time I said that, you know what happened. But
No, they just dropped the vaccine measures, man. They're gonna get special privilege, so we'll see how that works out. But we're here still, as Rob said, Monday, 8 o'clock, without fail.
It's like saying you sleep in designer, eh?
Shut up, bro.
Chris, what are you saying?
it's a shame that Nike truly is designer. Those prices are insane.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, yo, another week and NCAA is kicked off. If you have a bracket and it's still alive, you're
No, you don't. All
cheating.
are
So
done. They're all
Yeah,
done.
they're
yeah,
done.
you're
So
on a Back to the Future thing. But it's been a good week still. So I'm here.
yeah, like it's been a lot happening. Obviously, trade deadline's coming up, so maybe next week we'll kind of just do a breakdown of what happened on the trade deadline, if anything at that. Because at this point, we don't know if people are bluffers or they're actually about action. But let's start off with the East versus West, with just a general review of what's going on. Because honestly, if I told you that I knew what the East landscape looked like, I'd be lying. Because teams that I thought were in the playoff race somehow fell out of love. Um, so let's start with there, right? So right now it's currently Philly with the number 1 seed, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Atlanta 4, tied with 4 with Miami. New York 6, Boston 7th, tied with Charlotte for 7th, I guess, and then Chicago 9th, followed by Indiana, Toronto, Washington, and then the Scrubs. So just starting with the Eastern Conference, like obviously the top 3 kind of remain consistent since we last spoke, but like Atlanta's risen to the 4 seed, tied with the record of 22-20. Boston is now 20-21, tied with Charlotte for the 7th seed, and Chicago and Indiana kind of fell out of the race a little bit. They're not too far behind, sitting at 18-22. So, what do you guys just think generally about the Eastern Conference? I'll pose it to you, Kip.
It's a mess. Quite simple. If you win 4 games, you're in fourth place. And I feel like just 2 pods ago we were talking about the Hawks being a mess, and now they're firmly entrenched in the playoffs. They have basically been firmly in the playoffs, out, and then back again by just winning a couple of games. And now Celtics are in eighth place. Pacers are all the way out. And now it's looking shaky for the Pacers because they fired Nate McMillan. He took over for 2 weeks and leapfrogged these men. So we'll talk about that later. But just that's the first thing I see that jumps out to me. I think the Hornets are kind of slowing down as I kind of expected. Celtics still haven't gotten better. Like it's just weird. I keep waiting for them to get better, but maybe it never comes, and they got to play Philly in the next first round. So
What do you think, Chris?
My first thing is looking at it and I'm saying it's one of those situations this year where it is what it is. Like if you're looking for the bottom teams to show you any type of consistency, I guess you got to, throw that thing out the window. Because I feel like just 2 weeks ago, before the All Star game, Raptors were in fifth place. 2 weeks later, look at them out of the playoffs in 11. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just such a mess where literally a winning streak can dictate your season at this point in time. The Hawks are the latest example of that. They're 8 in a row. Shout out to Nate McMillan. Like I don't know what he's doing because it's not like his players have been Danilo Gallinari, the Rooster, the Cockmaster. He's been on fire, bro. Like amazing. He's shooting great. He's playing. I don't know, bro. Like hey, shout out to him. But looking at it, I'm just saying in terms of the East, you can't even project right now who's going to be able to make it out from not going to be able to make it out. Just last podcast, I was saying shout out to the Hornets, and now the Hornets have slid 2 positions backwards. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no consistency in anything.
Well, for me personally, I just think the thing about the East is like, I feel like every year people come in and say the East is better this year. And then we get to the halfway mark and we realize it's shit. Like, a lot of these teams, like I'm not going to be surprised if they make the playoffs, but I will be surprised if they make the playoffs with some of the records. And in all honesty, some of these teams might make the playoffs with the losing records, which isn't uncommon for the Eastern Conference, to be honest. But like I'm more so surprised again with what Atlanta has done, winning 8 straight. Obviously, Miami climbed up the ranks as soon as they got healthy. Jimmy's been on a tear, but Boston, like I don't know what's going on, and Indiana, they always seem like one of those teams just to kind of steady the ship and maintain that 4, 5, 6 slot. Like they always look like one of those teams to hold those positions down, and now they're sitting in the 9th seed outside looking in. So it's just one of those situations where it's like I feel like I need to temper my expectations for the Eastern Conference and really tell myself that like even if teams start good, they won't finish good in this conference because the conference itself isn't good. But I do want to transition
Granted, though,
specifically.
like
Go
in
ahead. Go
looking
ahead.
at
Go ahead.
no, I'm saying like in looking at a team like Indiana, like I remember coming in this year saying that I don't really feel like they have it. They don't have the juice to me. Like I remember saying that, and we're like, yeah, but Indiana always does what they do. So like Indiana isn't even a surprise to me. The real surprise is the Hornets. You know what I'm saying? Like if anything, like they're the team on the board right now, and also the Knicks because we didn't expect the Raptors to absolutely fall out of the playoff race altogether. But those are the two teams right now, in my estimation, that I see that's stealing a position from another team. You know what I'm saying? For me, I'm looking at, like the Celtics. Like, is there any opportunity? Do you guys see any chance of them actually, like, say they don't make a move at the deadline, and that's not even anything to, that wouldn't be shocking because it's not like it's in his nature or whatever the case is. But if Celtics don't make a move at the deadline, do you see that? Do you see there's a chance that they may not even make the playoffs, bro? And I'm saying make the playoffs in the sense that they don't finish in the top 8. They may still make the playoffs because of the whole play-in situation, but I'm saying, like, do you see a situation where they're not in the top 8 when the season's done?
I don't see any chance that they miss the playoffs though. Like obviously they're on the very edge right now, so they might not be top 8. Like, but they not by tomorrow they might not be top 8. But when I'm talking when it's all said and done, I just don't see a chance. Though. Maybe that's just overconfidence in that organization and the players in that organization, but they're too good to fall out. So I don't think when it's all again, they're 1.5 games back to fifth place. If we come back in tomorrow, they might be in fifth. They could be in fourth actually. They're 1.5 game behind fourth. So I guess it's a mess. It's a mess. And I look down the board at Toronto. The Raptors are 2 games above the Cavs who are in 13th. We could very well be top 5 in the draft next year. That's how bad we are over here. So it's it's a mess, man. It's sad still. The Raptors. I just thought we were going to be good until man's like Lowry left, and it's not. Granted, we were getting boxed up by COVID, but so did other teams. We were
Yeah,
shit
like
for a very long time. At the start of the season, we
we
were shit when we were healthy with no COVID.
with no COVID at all
So then
still.
when the COVID boxes us, we can't even complain like that because other teams dealt with it and they're better than us. It's that simple.
I don't even understand why we're not trading Laurie. Like I understand, like after I heard Laurie say that regardless of what happens, I'm signing my 1 day contract and I'm a retire Raptor. I felt like that was him giving us the credence or, the approval to deal me. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that was his way of saying, yeah, like no hard feelings. Like if you trade me, you trade me. So the report came out that we will not be trading Kyle Lowry, and then it's just like, bruh, like
But yo, to
so
that
so
point,
what are we doing here? What because are we going to resign him?
I
You know what I'm
think we
saying?
have
Like,
we have to understand this, Chris, because as much as I want to say that, like, yeah, we want to do right by Kyle Lowry and make him go to a competitor and be able to compete at a high level for a championship, Masai's no idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Masai is one of those guys where he's going to sit down there and really plan this out properly. And like, he probably talked to Kyle Lowry and said, look, these are the realistic expectations and outcomes. And I'm just letting you know, giving you a heads up as a courtesy, but here's what I'm planning to do because I don't see a team, maybe outside of Philly, right, that would trade for Kyle Lowry and give enough to get him, knowing he's an expiring deal, might not sign back right now, as it currently stands,
but
right?
but what is it? What is enough though? That's the conversation. Like, what is enough? If a team is saying that I'm gonna give you a first round draft pick, in my estimation, that's enough
Okay,
because it's.
but
And again, I ask the question: are we re-signing him?
But I'm saying even if we don't re-sign him, getting him off the books alone clears enough cap for us to actually have flexibility to do something. Which is why I think, again, a lot of teams know that if he's not going to a specific destination where it suits him, he's not signing back. So it's a rental. And it's not like you're getting a rental where, okay, even if you do want to sign him back, you want to be the one to pay him 70 over 3 years. I don't think any team right now wants to be that team to do it. Toronto would do it just based on his legacy. But do you want to pay Kyle Lowry
Would
70
we?
mil over 3 years?
Would we?
But I'm
I
saying
don't know if we
I'm
would
not
sign him back to no
I'm not
70
saying that we
mil.
would. I'm saying if there was any team that would, we would be it. And I don't even know if Masai wants to do that. That's the reality. Who wants to pay Kyle Lowry 70 over
But
3
yo,
years,
fam,
knowing he's going into
you're
his
speaking as if he's
35?
not. But you're speaking as if he's not sought after.
He
I'm
definitely
not
is,
saying he's
but
not sought
Mans are
after.
It's
making the
clear
same
he's
mistake
sought
they made with
after.
Mans are making the same mistake they made with Al Horford. Still, it's just that simple, bro.
Yeah, but granted, but that is fair. But I'm saying that the mere fact that he's sought after shows you that there is value to be had on the market. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but
No,
again, a man being
definitely.
sought after and what they're willing to return, what they're sending to you has to make sense. Like, if the Sixers send you Danny Green, a man may
And a
deem Danny
first,
Green is man may deem that doesn't match. First of all, right?
30 mil for
And
Kyle Lowry, just a minute.
man's love to talk about you just add filler. Man's love to add like you just add filler, but sometimes the filler doesn't even make sense for either team.
but
Like,
here's how it makes sense. And this does match up because I heard on the Dunk podcast they made a similar trade like this to get him over there, right? And what they did was they said Kyle Lowry for Danny Green, Maxi, and what's my guy's name?
Mike
Can't
Scott.
even remember my guy's name right now.
Mike Scott. Mike
But
Scott.
no, yeah, and Mike Scott, right? Those three guys match up with a first round pick attached to it. Why wouldn't we accept that if we know we're not re-signing him?
I don't think we know we're not resigning him.
But why would we? Like
Because
you see the
I don't,
returns, right? You see the returns right now.
yeah, but I think if you look how the Raptors are moving, does this look like a panic? Does it look like these mans are blowing it up? No. I think they should blow it up. Whether or not we think they should blow it up is irrelevant. Nothing about the moves that they've made so far or anything coming out of the organization deems this to be a panic thing. If anything, they're going to look at it as, yo, we had a down year for whatever reason, and next year we're going to draft the guy. We're going to have some flexibility in the off season, and we're going to try and come back again. I don't think I don't as much as I've been begging for it. I don't think Masai's on it for a rebuild, and I'm not going to give away Kyle Lowry for guys who I don't think move the needle whatsoever. Yeah, first round draft pick's cool, but it's basically a second rounder. Like, let's be real about it. If you get a first round draft pick from the Sixers, it's a second rounder as we speak right now. So it's I don't think that shit's as attractive as it is. If we're not going to re-sign him, if we know we're not going to re-sign him, I think he will be traded. Right? If we don't see him traded, then there must be some type of attempt to re-sign him. Or for all we know, the Raptors still think they can make the playoffs.
Or they
And they
just want to clear
can.
30 mil off the books. That's
Nah, but
another
you can.
option.
But if but you can get expiring deals in return for Lowry plus the first rounder. See what I'm saying? Like, it's not like obviously you don't want to take on cap that's going to extend past this season. Obviously, that's
Mm-hmm.
why I don't think Danny Green's worth anything, right? But if you take on expiring deals, which probably isn't Philly, it'd probably be somebody else. Maybe Lowry doesn't even want to go there, right? So it's more complicated than it is because I think no trade happens without Lowry saying I'm cool, and that's not similar to most situations that we see at the deadline right now.
Facts. Facts. But sticking in the East, I want to transition into the Hawks because I know we had mentioned them a little bit earlier, but they're on an 8-game winning streak. They just beat the Lakers last night. So I'm gonna start this off. I watch a lot of Hawks basketball because on one of my fantasy teams I have John Collins and Trae Young, and I see the change in playing style from when the All-Star break happened until now. Like if you watch the games, you'll see that Trae Young, for the most part, he's instead of scoring, he's doing a lot more facilitating, but he's also allowing others to facilitate. It's no more just give Trae Young the ball and 90% of the offense is what he does, right? Like they let a lot of the other people feature in the offense. Kevin Huerter makes plays with the ball. They have Trae Young off balls, running around screens. Granted, he's not shooting. He's still going to the lane or whatever it is. But just a change in play style. They're getting John Collins a lot more involved than he was in the first half of the season. So I don't know what the winning recipe is, and I don't know if this is sustainable. I don't know if this is just a matter of, right place, right time, right schedule. But 8 games is 8 games, right? Especially with some of them coming against some of the top tier teams in the league, right? So I'm happy for Atlanta, but like, do you guys think it's sustainable? Obviously not this winning streak, but do you think it's sustainable in the sense that they're going to be able to maintain like a top 4 or 5 seed, especially with DeAndre Hunter on the way back? What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. Like coming into the season, this was one of the teams that I was really high on, and I really did believe that they would be, laying their flag in the Eastern Conference. And them coming into the season just disheartening. You know what I'm saying? And they had a lot of players that was playing well. John Collins was playing his best, but he's still a 20-10. That's what you expect out of him. DeAndre Hunter came out looking like their second best player on the entire roster, and Trey Young is still Trey Young. But now what I'm seeing is that what I'm realizing, and this is why I wasn't, fond of them getting rid of Lloyd Pierce, is because they never had their entire team at any point. And even right now, yes, they still do not have DeAndre Hunter, but they're getting contributions from the people that they picked up in the offseason. Danilo Gallinari, as I mentioned earlier. Now Bogdan is now playing like he's not playing like extremely well, but he's a competent body out there that's soaking up minutes that they didn't have before. You know what I'm saying? So like as they start to round in and as they start to get their players, I expect them to make the playoffs. That was what I thought in the beginning, and that's probably why my dude got fired because the expectations was playoffs, and now they're firmly, not firmly, but now they have something to build on towards the rest of the season. So I don't know if they're going to be top five. I wouldn't bet my money on them finishing top five, but I would tentatively bet my money on them finishing in the playoffs, at least in the play-in, and then who knows what happens after that.
What do you think, Kev?
Man, gotta look at trends still. You add Nate McMillan, and things go right. Yeah, we can look and say if Lloyd Pierce got this type of contribution from other mans, then maybe he'd still have his job. Maybe they would have went on this 8 game win streak, anyways. But we don't know that, right? What if Gallinari's playing well because Nate McMillan's changed offense and there's a bit more movement, and now Gallinari's playing well? Bogdanovich, he was literally not doing anything out there. I still don't think he's good. Keep it above with you guys, but they're playing way better. Like they're getting contributions all over the place. As Rob said, DeAndre Hunter's on his way back, but I just got to give it to Nate McMillan, man. A man can't continue to do something like we saw what he did for years with that Indiana offense. Every year they didn't have a star, and they just found one. Right? They've Oladipo, Sabonis, and somehow through all the constant change in that roster, they were in first place. Sorry, they're in playoffs and a consistent team. They're an extremely consistent team, a tough team to play, a tough team to beat. He gets fired, and you look at the Pacers now.
Facts.
They've been inconsistent all year. This is the most inconsistent I've seen them, aside from record. Like put record aside, they can't string win streaks together. They're not great on the road. Like it's a completely different team, right? And a man can deem that to talent, whatever it is, but there's also one man that's missing, and now he's somewhere else getting wins. So I think playoffs is definitely realistic. I don't think top 5 is realistic. So again, like these mans are a game out of 8th right now. So it's great to see, right? I didn't really have them penciled in as a guaranteed playoff team like other people did, but they're definitely playing well, and I hope it continues. Like as Rob said, again, John Collins way more involved. It seemed like they had kind of pushed him to the wayside, and he might get traded. Now they're saying he might not, but they're playing well still. Trey Young just has to be a leader, realistically. Like we know you can get 30 and 10 any given night, but you got to start to do other things to get yourself better because pounding the ball for 18 seconds is not going to get it done in this league unless you're James Harden, realistically.
Yeah, I hear that. My biggest question right now is whether or not, given how he's played and the fact that they said that they're not willing to trade him, does that mean that they're going to give him the max? Because I swear they offered him like, was it $90 million contract over 4 years?
Yeah, that's the weird part about this is like, fam, when the man's on his rookie deal, trying to trade him, if man's on his rookie deal and he's good, trying to trade him is damn near impossible, bro. Like,
Yeah, you're not gonna get the value for it.
the return you get to match contracts, like it just doesn't work up properly. So it's hard to find anything. I seen that the Timberwolves are interested. I don't know why. Well, I can tell you why. Because they're fucking desperate. Because these men are the shittest organization in the league, and the Warriors own their draft pick. So they're desperate. I think the Knicks might kick the tires, but like, who am I gonna get? Like, if I'm Atlanta, what are you looking for? I guess that's the question, right? If you're trading John Collins, right? You have Gallinari essentially to replace him. You obviously have a big. What are you looking for in replacement for John Collins? Because if we look at this Hawks team, their starting lineup is basically rounded out. Like, so what are we looking for? Are we looking for bench pieces?
Nah, I think you would be looking for like draft compensation, honestly, and because they have Hunter, they have Gallinari, right, and they
Yeah.
have Capella. So those three players can fill out your 5 and 4 positions. So realistically, you don't necessarily need John Collins. Like you actually do not. So like if I'm them, I'm looking for who's gonna give me which shit team. And if he's gonna get traded, I don't believe he goes to a team like the Celtics. I think he
No,
goes
no,
to
no.
I think he goes to a shit team. Like
Hmm.
Yeah,
these shit teams in the league that are saying, we need young talent to like bring that infusion, and hopefully he's the one that can save us out of purgatory. And in order to do that, they're going to have to give you a draft pick, and with that draft pick is when you can go back to your fans and say, listen, we got John Collins, he wanted more than we were willing to pay, we have the replacements for him, so now we have this pick that is lottery bound, and we can surely replace him. I think that's the only way or only path to him being traded.
But hear me out, Chris. This is my problem with some of these organizations, and it's a problem that I have with how people value draft picks. How do you sell to your fan base that I'm going to draft a player that is better than the man giving me 20 and 10? That doesn't
yeah.
make
But
sense
here's
to
how you
me.
do it. No, here's how you do it. Here's how you do it.
That's the
Because
thing.
it's very easy, honestly. It's extremely easy. Because we haven't won with this guy. You know what I'm saying? And like, man's
That's not fair.
bro,
Still.
we're not bro, but it's not fair. But that's what all I'm saying is it's an easy narrative to paint. We haven't won with dude.
So
Nah,
they're
So
nah,
you
lying to
give all you
themselves at
can.
that
but
point.
yo,
Then
I'm not
No,
bad. I'm
it's
saying I'm not
not.
hearing that. I'm not hearing that. If I'm a fan, I'm
But
not
yo,
hearing that. Because yo, you haven't won with Trey Young either. Does that mean you don't give him the max?
no, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, I'm just speaking from the points.
Ah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah, I
saying
know,
that I
I
agree
know, I
with,
know. You're not
right?
saying
All
that.
right.
I get what you're
So
saying. I get what you're
if
saying.
I'm the Hawks, right? If I'm the Hawks GM and I say I'm gonna make this move, all I come out and say is John Collins is a great player. You know what I'm saying? His time here was great, all of that good stuff. But now we have an asset to where we feel like is more malleable and more conducive to winning in the future. That's it.
That's cap, though. I
but
hear you, Chris.
yeah,
I hear you. I'm not going at you. That's absolute cap because yo, first of all, you can't promise man that's more conducive to win in the future because you literally don't know who that is. To find a man that's as good as John Collins in the draft, period, is next to impossible unless you're picking first. Let's keep it a buck, right? On top of that, what you said earlier, like I don't think if you trade him, this is where the issue comes in with Atlanta. For the first time in years, you're firmly entrenched in the playoffs. So now you're going to trade a man that's obviously a contributor to your team, a very big one, and young. You're going to trade him away for nothing. Yes, we agree that they have mans to replace him, but who's going to replace those mans off the bench? And it's hard to make this trade when you're good for the first time in years, because then it kind of looks like you're not about winning this year, or you're not all in on winning this year, and you signed Gallinari to that stupid contract, which told mans you're all in on winning. So I personally think they put themselves in a bad position where now nothing they do makes sense, right? We can look at it and say, okay, you're going to trade John Collins because you don't want to give him the max. Fine, but where else are you going to put the money? And you went and created a team that's supposed to win games. You're winning games. John Collins is a big part of that right now. And now you're going to deal him and say we're going to get something back from that. Like a draft pick isn't cool still. Like especially when you're
All right,
trading away proven talent.
but here's the thing, right? Do you think 90 million from John Collins is fair?
yes.
Yes. Given the fact that given the landscape of the league and the fact that Jonathan Isaac got 80 mil for playing 30 games in his career, yes, I think so.
All
Man
right,
like
so
OG got 80. I understand they're defenders, but fam, like Collins is gonna get that. If he doesn't get it
yeah,
from here, he's gonna get it still.
all right, so and that's what I'm saying, right? So I believe it is fair. Now, if John Collins wants, I don't know what the max is for him
Yeah, yeah,
specifically,
yeah.
but let's just say it's like 110. I don't know, like 105, 110, right? Which is 15, 20 million more than you want to even pay the guy. And you're already putting up $90 million to him, and he's saying no to that. For me now, I'm saying if I'm the Atlanta Hawks, this is why he's even in trade conversations in the first place. Like,
No,
fam,
no.
I'm already extending myself to a certain degree, and I believe that's a fair offer that you should be accepting. And if you don't want to accept that, because what we do know for a fact is the fit between him and Capella isn't the most rosiest fit
But
that you
who's
can find.
better?
And fam,
I'm taking
we don't know
Capella
who's
still.
better. We
I'm
don't
taking
know
I'm
who's
Capella.
taking
better.
In that team
Collins.
with Trey,
Fam, Capella is disgusting.
Yeah, but
I
he's
don't know
also
if
Capella
it's
is
limited.
disgusting, but
He's
like, yo,
limited and
everything
replaceable.
we had wanted. When
talent,
they
he doesn't have
traded
the
for him,
talent.
he's everything they wanted, fam.
Yeah, he's not the talent, but in terms of what he does for that team, that man is an absolute.
No,
animal.
I hear that, but hear me out. What I'm saying in this case is, I'm not saying that Capella's not talented. He is good at what he does, but
He's not
is he
really
replaceable? Is he
It's much
replaceable?
easier
Bro,
to. It's
but
not.
is he really fam? He's everything that team wanted. Like
Is he replaceable?
that's not even an understatement. When they traded for him and they had the conception of what Capella can do for that team, he has done everything that they thought
I
he would be
understand
able to
that,
do.
but he is replaceable. You know how hard it is to find a man like John Collins who's putting up 20 and 10 with a tray and a block?
Fam, you know how hard it is to find a man that's going out there 14 and 14 with
Yo,
multiple blocks a night?
let's keep it a
Drummond's
buck. Yo,
on the sideline right
What?
now, eh? Drummond's
What?
available, eh?
I can. All
that's
right.
not the same man. Still, that's not the
Drummond is
same
not
man, bro.
actually playing defense. Fam, I can give you a man
Yo,
dropping
Robs,
20 and
I hate
10
when
if you
men
give him
do
the
this, bro.
minutes.
I can't stand this shit. Robs, last
It's the
week we were
Gobert effect. This
arguing.
guy just doesn't rate these niggas, bro.
Last year we were arguing against. Last week we were arguing against what's his name, against Drummond. Now don't come switch up moving like that guy's a guy now.
Bro, I'm not saying that
do
he's good. I don't rate the Gobert, Andre Drummond type of players. I don't rate those guys, but I'm saying they're around. They're around.
That's fine. Still, yo,
They
do I
are
see
around.
Do I see they're comparable in terms of effectiveness? Like I think they're both hard to replace because what John Collins does to get his 20 and 10 with that type of efficiency, that guy's like a career 38% 3-point shooter. Like it's hard to replace that. It's also hard to replace a man that's going to go out there and anchor your defense and give you 15 and 15 every night and block shots. It's hard, right? So my issue is, I think the issue with this all comes in now is how much money did you give Gallinari, and for the money you gave him, for me to look at you and say you're gonna kind of give Gallo that money, and then it becomes an issue to pay Collins. It's just weird to me because Collins is like 24 years old. He can still get better. And you sign a man like Gallinari. I've been talking about this for weeks. Like, I know I keep beating the dead horse here, but the direction you took doesn't make any sense because now you're in a situation where you have to trade a valuable competitor to your team, and we're all here saying that the most you're going to get is a draft pick. And what are you going to get back for that? An ex Cam Reddish?
That guy sucks.
Well, the story isn't finished on a guy like Cam Reddish.
I understand, but here's the thing: you're winning right now. You already have a Cam Reddish. You don't have time for another man that's 2 years away from being 2 years away. You don't. Not with the money you gave Gallo.
Fam, Gallo is on the books for this year, next year, and then piss him off.
But it's a lot of money, fam.
I'm just talking about money. Like I'm saying, like you make commitments to winning. We know that.
Yeah, and I believe that they can still win if they traded Collins this year.
But yo, Chris, let me ask you this, right?
Like they may not be better, but they would still trend water around. Like if they get anything in relative value for John Collins, I don't feel like they miss a beat.
But yo, Chris,
because it's not like John Collins has been like spectacular this year. He's on a good stretch right now.
But we know why his play had dropped this year. It's just because based on the role. So like I feel any team that season's like if I put this guy at center or I give him more of a featured role, like he's gonna at least do what he did last year.
But yo, Chris, let me ask you this because this is more I stand with the Hawks. What are you gonna do with the money? And I think people often mistake that point. Is okay, yeah, you're saving money, but you're saving money for what? Free agents are not coming to Atlanta because you're not good. You have to prove to be somewhat good.
I never subscribe to that though, because here's what I do know: it's better to have the money than to not.
But have the money and spend it on man's like Gallo. You had the money in the past. You had the money in the past. They've always had the money.
I rather have the money. I rather have the money than not have the money, and I tied it into a guy where I know for a fact it's not the most beautiful fit. And what's going to end up happening is we're going to try and make it work for a couple of years, and now I'm gonna try and change. I'm gonna be trying to trade this max contract. But I'm definitely not going to get anything in return.
But everything that you're telling me is that you'd rather cut your losses. See? And that's all I'm saying is you can't explain that to the fans. Be real with the fans and explain to them that we fucked up.
All I'm saying is this: is they've had the money in the past, and you know what they did? They went out there and spent it on man's like Gallo. It's not
And
like
Gallo's
Atlanta never.
providing. Story isn't written on Gallo yet. Like, why are we trying to put things
There's
Chris,
no
in
way you're gonna
box
sit here
right
and tell
now?
me that
Chris,
the spending the money on
bro,
Gallinari is a wise decision and spending the money on Collins isn't,
Chris.
man. You've had the money in the
No,
past and
it's
you
not
went
even
on
about
and
that.
paid Bogdanovich.
I know we saw Gallo and OKC last year. We know better. That man is out of here just now. Come on, man. Let's not move stupid. Please, let's not do this right now.
Bro, if we get to the playoffs and Gallo performs good, now it's good money spent. Now what are we gonna now what are we telling me?
Is he gonna be there next year? I'm gonna
Fam,
reserve my
if we
judgment.
get to the
So.
playoffs this year and Gallo plays like
You
how
can
he's
say that
playing
about
right
any man.
now,
So if you give
what
John Collins the max and he
exactly? So
plays well,
can we let the process play out with Gallo? That's all I'm saying. We're acting like Gallo is like dead food right now. He's not.
We'll pay man's like OG a bag of money and not pay a man putting up 20 and 10. I'll never understand still. I'll never
yo,
understand.
if Collins hits restricted free agency, it's gonna be a Montic still. I kind of want him to hit it just to see like man's dash the money at it because
150.
yeah,
Yeah, and
because
why would you do that? Just trade
because
him. Like what?
The Knicks might take him over Julius, which is fucked.
Fam, even teams like the Spurs might go out there and be like, I'm a try a thing with him. Like there's gonna be
Fam,
mans coming out of the woodworks that
I
are
think
gonna want. I'm not saying he's not talented. Like don't get it twisted. I'm
Yeah, I'm
not
not.
saying he's not talented. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be paid. What I'm saying is the Hawks offer of $90 million is more than fair. If he turns that down and you say as an organization that I'm not going over that budget right there, trade the man, fam.
but yo, this is
Because
my
Yeah,
all
problem
that's
though.
going
We've
to end up
seen mans
happening
get
is
paid for
you're going to
less
pay him
production, bro.
and then you're going to trade him.
We've
That's
seen
what's
no,
going to
mans
happen.
we've seen get paid mans get paid
Robs.
for less production.
But Robs, we know the fit doesn't work. I understand that. So obviously their likelihood to pay him decreases with that. I get that. All I'm saying is, in terms of what Chris was trying to explain, the stance the organization should take in terms of we're getting a future asset that's more malleable. That's bullshit. Tell them you're cutting your losses. Don't try and frame it as we're winning here or we're making our team better for the future. Nah, you lost a man that's giving you 20 and 10 for an unknown, for a question mark, and just say that it doesn't fit. It's that simple. Cut your losses, and I'd be cool if I was a fan. I'd rather you lie to me than tell me, "Oh, this is more malleable. We can get a better play in the future," because that's bullshit. Like you're not finding a 20 and 10 guy in a draft. And if you go into a draft thinking you are, unless you're drafting first, you're lying to yourself. Because a lot of these first round picks can't even do what Collins has done yet.
Facts. DeAndre Ayton. Case in point. But anyways, let's move over to the Western Conference. So Western Conference, it looks a little bit more traditional, obviously, because this is a stronger conference. Bring it up as we speak, but we have Utah sitting at 1 at 30-11, followed by Phoenix 27-13, Lakers third, Clips fourth, Portland fifth, Denver tied with fifth, San Antonio seventh, Dallas eighth, GS State 9, and then we have Memphis, New Orleans, and the Scrubs. Right off the bat, I feel like this is the way better conference. It looks a little bit more stable in terms of like the upward mobility. Like you're not going to see teams just skip the board in this conference. My biggest surprise, I didn't think that Phoenix would be sitting in the second seed right now. And obviously with the Lakers just losing Bron to the injury out indefinitely, like we don't know what's going to happen with them. Hopefully they can maintain a top 4 seed, but like just generally overall with the conference, like it's a lot more stable. I do think that G State will take Dallas out of the playoffs though. Hot take. I don't know if that's a wild take, but what do you guys think just generally about the conference, Kev?
Nah, the real hot take, Kev, man probably didn't even hear what Kev said at the end of that podcast last time. So
You want me to repeat
I
myself?
feel like, I feel
You want me to
like,
repeat
I feel
myself?
like,
You
yeah,
want
I
me to
feel like
repeat myself?
he needs to put it on the record on the early settings. You see it? Go ahead, fam.
Provided Anthony Davis is healthy, I still have the Lakers. But if Anthony Davis is not healthy, I am taking the Suns to win the conference. So what I'm saying is, provided the standings shake out, I think it's the Suns and the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. And if AD's healthy, I think they win. If not, it's the Suns. So I don't care. Last pod, I asked Mans, what are they missing? I didn't really get a response. And
We gave you
that's
a
all it
response,
is.
fam.
Yeah, I didn't get a good one.
We
So,
gave you a response. They don't have a guy.
yeah, all right. And you don't have the guy until you have the guy. You can't look at any man in the league. You can't look at any team in the league or any player in this league who isn't stated as that guy yet and say that he can't be that guy as much as you can look at Devin Booker. If there's one man you can look at right now and say he's one playoff appearance, one playoff round away from being that guy, it's him. And I'm taking that he's going to make that step. That's it. And after that, you got bare supporting cast. You have men that are playing well. Maybe they're active in the trade market. But what I see right now, the consistency, Clippers are shit, right?
I don't know if they're shit.
I think they're shit still.
I think shit is a very strong word.
Nah, I think they're shit. PG's hurt. That toe edema thing that man had, I looked it up. He's supposed to be out months, so he's playing hurt. And we know we know what time it is.
I seen Patterson on the floor last night, eh?
I can't stand that guy. Yo. But yeah, like I'm taking the Suns. Like I'm on the Suns heavy pause. Like they're my second team right now out there, and I see no flaws. Right? If Booker takes that step, I don't see how they lose him. And I think that step is more. I feel like Booker's been waiting for this moment. Like
he's been waiting a very long time for the playoffs. You're right.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. And man, I don't want to hear man switch up because certain mans were champion Devin Booker back when he wasn't making the playoffs, and I was saying hold on there. But I think he's ready to take that step still.
Nah, he's a very, very talented young man still. Like I feel like he has it, but for you not even putting your toe in the playoff water yet, for me to then say now you are a logical candidate for being that guy in the playoffs. Like I remember what Cat did his first time touching playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing to write about. And after that playoffs is what really tainted him. Like I feel like he still hasn't shaken off that happened to him in that series. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just wary of doing that with great players, saying before they even got their toe wet, saying they're going to be able to swim in the deep end. That's all.
I'm not saying it's foolproof that he's just going to be there. What I'm saying is like he has the perfect environment to thrive. I don't. Which one of these guys? Did Cat have a Chris Paul? No. Did
Jimmy? He had a Jimmy.
Okay, but I don't see him as the same person as Chris. And then look at thing. Even when Donovan Mitchell made that jump, did he have a Chris Paul? No. When Murray made that jump, he has a Jokic, right? But they're both learning as they go. So at least I can
Mitchell
look at
had a Gobert still.
But he's a man that's learning as he goes too. I'm talking about a man that's experienced, and when you look over, he gives you that confidence because he can win games, and you have that ultimate trust in him. So
you're saying I feel like a vet that can still play,
not also a very good player in this league, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like a man that's what I mean. Like a star vet that can still.
Yeah. So I'm saying a man that's been around the block and he knows how to win games. When you look to your left, as I said, when things are tight, when the opposition goes on a 10-0 run, when you look to your left and your vet is calm and he can still go out there and do it himself one night, that makes it a lot easier for you to go out there. Like, think about it. Devin Booker is going to have to do a lot less for us to look at him as that guy. He's not going to have to go out there and drop 40 every night like Donovan Mitchell did for us to look at him as that guy. If he goes out there and drops, though. I don't think so, though, because I look at this team and I say at the very end of the day, at least your center can get a buck if you drop it down to him. A lot of these teams can't even say that. And they may not use him that often, but I'm saying when things get tough, if 2-3 times you got to dump it down to Ayton in the game, like there's no other team in this that can do that.
Ayton's getting benched in the fourth quarter, no?
Well, you can't look at last game. He had
foul issues. He's had foul issues.
He's been getting benched in the fourth quarter, man.
They don't use him though. They actually don't use him.
Yeah, but I'm saying we know he can get a buck. I think they need a backup center still. I think they need a backup center because a man like Ayton could struggle with foul trouble come playoff time. So I think that might be the one piece they're missing. But as I said, aside from that, I don't know. Still,
you got the Suns here. He's stamping it.
I'll die on that one.
I don't know. I think right now, like the Western Conference is real bunched up. Again, I don't really believe in the Clippers because until Paul George shows me he can do it, I'm not going to say he could do it because I know what Kawhi brings.
Nigga, bro.
But, exactly.
Paul George know what Kawhi brings?
Fam, Kawhi's bringing it.
We saw what Kawhi brought.
Kawhi's bringing it.
We saw what Kawhi brought.
But
Kawhi was
his
0
track
for 4
record
in the last 5 minutes. So.
But his track record also shows.
Does
that
Kawhi have a track record though? He has 1 year, bro.
He has 1 year,
bro. Kawhi has one singular year.
I think 1 year is better than mans that have no year.
No, I understand. It's better than not having.
But you can't talk about track record, fam.
It's not a track record.
What are you talking about? You have one track.
You can say that.
Some mans have none. Some mans have none.
But you can't tell me he has a track record when the train can't move. There's one track, fam.
But it moved and it got to the chip, fam.
Oh my days.
All I'm saying is he has some history of being able to perform in the playoffs. PG will get to the playoffs and talk about his foot was hotting him from February. And it's like,
That's a
yeah, you know
fucking
what I mean?
fraud, bro.
You know what I mean? He'll pull out the bag. Yeah, my foot's been hurting me since February, but I've been pushing through, for the betterment of the team. Then talk about how, the playoffs are getting to him
Next
and
year's
how
gonna
mans
be
on Twitter
different.
are bullying
Yo,
him.
Wiseman, bro.
It's wild, but
Nah, the way I see it, bro, I'm looking at the Clippers and I'm saying if they get Lonzo Ball, as they're saying how they're attempting to,
With who?
I don't know
fam,
how.
I don't know how. That's why I said if they get Lonzo Ball, I'm just letting you know what the report came out and said, that they're pursuing Ball, and if they get Lonzo Ball, now everything is different. Now that team is
Yeah,
actually like
definitely.
one of the teams to fuck around with in the West. Without him, I still think that they're a championship contender off of the strength. I'm not gonna disrespect Paul George. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand that. Whatever you want to say about that guy, bro. Like when you're talking about top 10, he's in that 10, 11, 12 group. You know what I'm saying? Where he's right there. He's either 10 or he's 11 and 12, right on the cup. So I'm not gonna be like he's shit. Kawhi is Kawhi. We already know what that guy is. I don't know, as I said, he has one track, but he's still one of the best players in the league. So I'm not gonna disrespect them. Like to have your two best players be wings, we're still trying to big up the Celtics, and they have the cheap man's version of this. So like, how can we now do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
So I don't know, bro. Like, I'm still saying that the Clippers are a team to fuck around with. Like, if the
if
Clippers and the Suns met up, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't take the Suns over the Clippers, but hey, that's just me. But then I'm looking at the rest of the Western Conference, and this whole narrative about the West being so strong, bro. Like, there's only like 3, 4 teams that I'm actually looking at to do anything, and I'm not putting those teams above the Nets right now because they have KD on ice, and we see what Harden is doing. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm Utah. I still don't necessarily believe in them, but they're playing well, so I'm gonna give them their props at the moment. The Suns, I don't believe in the Suns either. So it's like I don't know. So it's really, to me, it's the Lakers, the Clippers, and I'm looking at Denver to say I believe in you guys because I know when you guys turn it on, it's on. Besides that, everybody else is just beating up on the East and keeping and treading water in the West to me.
But the thing is the fact that if we can even look at a team like the Clippers being what, fourth, that speaks to the strength of the conference. Because look at their equivalents in the Eastern Conference, quote unquote, the Boston tandem scraping at the A seed. You know what I mean? Like, and like, look, Steph Curry and GSG State is what, ninth? Luka's eighth. Spurs are playing well, but they're still in seventh. Like, and if you just look at the records, like the records alone tell you that it's a stronger conference by far. And I don't know if that means it's a strong conference or the weak is just shit, but in comparison, it is a stronger conference.
Well, it's a stronger. When I said stronger versus weaker, I'm talking about like title contenders. That's what I was getting to. So I'm saying like when I look at the East, to me they have 3 title contenders. When I look at the West, I can stretch it to 4. That's what I was saying. But it's not like all of the championship contenders are out west, and you only have like the Nets in the East that can say that they have a chance. Because if I want to stretch it to 4 in the West, I can stretch it to 4 in the East as well, and include Miami in that. Because Miami at least got there last year. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe Miami is more of a contender than the Suns or Utah because they've been there.
It's fair.
that's fair still.
It's fair. But are you just talking about the totality of the conference, or are you just focusing on the teams that you think are going to make it through the gauntlet? Because remember, the
Now,
teams in the
when
West
I
would
talk
have to
about
face a lot better competition to get to the point where they're actually in a position to face the Eastern team. And I think that's what we speak
when you
about when we're
get
talking
past the
about.
first round, to me, when you get past, but fam, when you get past the first round, then the talent is the talent.
But the
You
first
see
one's
what I'm
hard. We
saying?
seen what Luka did to the Clips last year.
Yeah, but then he was also out in 6. So regardless of what it may have looked like he did, what he actually did is squeeze out 2 games and went home in 6. It wasn't that much of a fight.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, however you want to spin the narrative, leave that to the mans that are trying to, get viewers. Like, we got to look at this up for what it was, and that's the same thing that I see. So, you get past the first round. Now, talent is a talent across the board, bro. That's just how I see it.
I don't know. So it's weird. But I guess when it comes to the conference, it all kind of play out soon because towards the end of the season, we'll start to see some of the teams that actually contenders separate themselves, and the cream rises to the top, right? So
Hopefully.
right? I mean, I feel like every 3 weeks we're talking about how Atlanta's either good or shit. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, at the start of the season, I was asking man if they were for real because they were like third in the East, putting up historic offensive numbers, and now they're back. So I don't know. Let's see what happens 2 weeks from now.
we'll see. But it's about time for us to take our first break. We hit the 45-minute mark. Stay tuned. We'll come back. We're going to do a little draft review and maybe dig into some general topics. So stay tuned. Be right back. Little break, but we're going to get into a fun little activity. So we're basically just going to go through some of the notable draft picks from the 2020 NBA draft and just kind of see whether or not they met our expectations, right? Because I feel like we did this earlier in the season and we kind of laid out our expectation, what we thought they would be. And now we have a decent enough sample size so we can kind of dig in and assess whether or not they met those expectations or surpassed or even failed them. So let's dig into it. So right off rip, we're going to talk about number one draft pick, Anthony Edwards. I know originally I was the Ant-Man of the group. I told everybody that I thought he was good. And I mean, the jury's still out because he didn't get good until Malik Beasley kind of fell out of the rotation with the suspension. And yeah, he just dropped 42, but then he followed up with a piss poor performance after it. So I'm lukewarm on Anthony Edwards. I'm not going to say that he blew the expectations out the water, but he definitely didn't fail me. He's just kind of coasting right now. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. Like, I'm not ready to say that he's certified, but you can see the talent, right? He can get to the rim like very well, finishes very well. We know the athleticism. He has some confidence in his jumper. If his shot selection can improve, he can do a better job of getting to his spots. Like, I think there's something there. He's not doing that much playmaking, but he can play out the pick and roll. I think he's been very decent there. Like, he's a fun player to watch as well, right? I think when we talk about Melo, we'll speak on that too. Like, it's exciting. And what he does, he can do some very great things on the court. So first year, I think to look for anything more than that is kind of tough. Obviously, we've had men come through and be essentially stars in this league off rip, but it doesn't have to be that way, nor should it necessarily be that way, right? I think if you continue to get better throughout the season, you show us promise, then we can look to your second year and say, okay, can you improve? If you can continue to do that based on where you're starting from now, like, you can be a good NBA player, possibly a star in this league.
He's a walking bucket for sure. And he's definitely a walking bucket. And he's doing everything that I thought he was going to be able to do. Come in, drop buckets, and put up inefficient points. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought he was going to be able to do. So it's not even. I think he's right there. He's one of this surge that he's on. He put his name into the rookie of the year, ballot for sure. Because before he wasn't in it at all, to my estimation. But now with this last 10 games that he's on, he's definitely one of the people that you can say deserves to be rookie of the year. So I'm happy for him on that aspect because I know he cares about that shit. You don't want to be the first overall pick, and now we're not talking about you getting the award at the end of the year. And he's that type of nigga that has that type of pride. You know what I'm saying? I see that on him. So yeah, I'm super happy for him, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see what happens because Malik Beasley is supposed to come back on the 27th. So I'm interested to see how the rotation will shake out, whether or not they're still going to start him or like what's going on. But next on the list, we got number 2 overall pick, James Wiseman. Yo,
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
What did I tell man about this guy? I said off rip, said it's not worth it. I said, man, like Chris told me about how at the very least he's going to be out there defend. And I said, It's hard to defend at this level, especially as a big. And I also said, the Warriors are not even going to use him. So talent aside, the man can't get on the court. Why? Because a man like Kevon Looney is better than him in that system at this point. And that was my entire point to this. I said, talent aside, this man is not going to play. They have no use for him. They don't have time to wait for him to figure out how to dribble handoff, make the right reads, not get caught in no man's land in pick and roll where mans are throwing lobs over his head or just getting to the rim. I said all of this. And now The exact thing is happening. A couple days ago, the man didn't play, was going to be a DMP CD until the Warriors went down by 40, and then he touched game for 8 minutes.
No, what did he do?
What did he do? What did he do?
14 and 7 with 2 blocks.
Okay, but this is my point from
I get your point, Kev.
That was my point off rip. Matt tried to tell me about the talent. I said, first of all, I don't even believe in the talent like that. Second of all, they are not going to play him. They have no use for that man. So now I'm seeing Ant-Man. More so I'm seeing LaMelo Ball because he was there. And I'm seeing the way he's producing. And I feel like they would have had a better need for him, even if it doesn't fit. Even if you have 2 star guards already. I know they use guards. They don't use bigs. And what the bigs are asked to do in that Warriors system is hard enough for a man like Oubre and Wiggins to grasp as forwards, much less a big who barely even played in college, who's barely played structured basketball outside of high school. Like, it's just annoying to see still, because like I don't really understand how the Warriors expected this to fit. They're looking at a post Steph Curry world, but that world's nowhere close. Like, you're not even close to that. So he might be up. His rookie contract might be done. His confidence might be shot before you ever feel the need to actually use it. And it's sad.
It's not shot. It's definitely.
They said it might.
Shot.
I'm not saying it. No, I'm saying by time they actually decide to use it, because as long as they have Steph Curry and as long as they're playing in this current system, they're never going to really have a need for him. And so I'm saying by time Steph Curry's old and he's done, when it might be James Wiseman time, his confidence might be done. That's what I'm saying.
The talent is going to dictate that it's James Wiseman's time. You know what I'm saying? Now you can finagle the man's minutes.
Bro.
You can finagle his minutes all you want right now because he's a rookie. And we know how that goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're coming out, and I remember watching an interview with Draymond, and he was like, "Oh, you know, it's the second half of the season coming into the break, right?" He's like, "It's second half of the season. It's time to take off the training wheels. Like, it's time for him to go out there and be a monster." And that was the narrative that we've been hearing from Steve, not Steve. Fuck, what am I talking about? From
Steve
Kerr. Yeah,
Yes.
Steve Kerr. I'm thinking about Steve Nash. Fuck it. But whatever. So, like, yeah, from Steve Kerr, we've been hearing that narrative. Oh, we're about to take off the training wheels on him, and he's going to play more in the second half, and we're going to rely on him. We're going to do all of this type of stuff. And then they came out and didn't even play the man. So to me, it's like, if anyone is fucking around with the man's confidence or his head, it's the fucking coach. If you're going to say something, then do it, bro. That's all it is. If you don't want to play him, don't tell me you're playing him. That's all I ask.
This is what I was saying from the beginning, fam. Like, they're going to want to play him, but he cannot help them win games right now.
So then why are you telling me you're going to play him?
Because they want to, right? They want, and I'm not saying it's right. It's obviously wrong to tell a man you're going to play him and then not play. What I'm saying is they want to play this guy, but they can't, because they also have Steph Curry and they're trying to win games. That's the most important thing to them right now. That was my entire point. They do not have the time to take the training wheels off, have him out there getting smoked and pick and roll, and they're getting slapped by 20. They don't have the time to do that. So that's why you keep telling me the talent's going to rise. No, it's not, because he's more talented than Kevon Looney. But he's not going to play. He can't play because he does not understand the NBA yet. And it's hard.
Not right now. I didn't say the talent is going to rise right now. I said starting next year, when he's no longer a rookie, when he's actually had years of, a full year of NBA basketball under his belt, coupled with the talent, with his IQ matching up, he's gonna play, bro.
But that's assuming that he has an IQ to do it as well, right? Like, some guys just I'm not saying he doesn't,
but we can't just say he does. Like, there's mans that can't get the Warriors system. There's mans that's struggling.
Yeah, Ube is struggling right now, man.
And when you're asking bigs to when you're playing on the Warriors, you're asking bigs to set way more screens, different type of screens, right? And a man like James Wiseman coming out of high school probably sat on the block all day, was never asked to screen a soul. Played 3 games in college. He's not going to screen anybody. He's not used to screening anybody. If we're going to say he's going to get it in a year, cool, maybe he will. But part of being able to get it is game time, right? Obviously, you can sit and watch and learn too, but part of it is game time. And at no point do I think the Warriors are going to have that time for him to learn that on the fly. So he's going to have to sit on the bench and learn it. And I don't think that's as easy as you think. And I don't think...
that sounds like to me, though, is the Warriors wasting a talent.
Yes.
Yeah, and I said that's what he's saying, bro.
I said that off rip. I said I don't believe in the talent. Plus, they're not even going to use him. So I can't right now. I can't say Wiseman is shit because they're never, and we're never. I don't think we'll ever be able to say that. right? I can't definitively say this guy's bad. I don't think he's good, but I can't definitively say that's just my thoughts. I don't have facts because they're not playing it. But my point from the beginning was, even if I don't think this guy's talented, he's not even gonna get the chance to prove it because they don't have time. Bigs have never played over 30 minutes. A center has never played over 30 minutes for Steve Kerr since he took over the Warriors. And I never thought that was going to change, and it still isn't. And right now,
Well,
we're talking
to
about a man
me,
buried. We're talking about a man buried behind Kevon Looney. Come on.
yeah, but to me, how I see it, I believed in the talent. You know what I'm saying? I said James Wiseman is good. Like that's all I knew. And I haven't seen anything that has me deterring from that statement. When I said that at the very least he's gonna be a big body out there getting blocks, he's been getting blocks. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we
Like,
said okay, but yeah, you can get blocks, but he's getting smoked out there because
yeah,
he
but
doesn't.
fam, and I conceded that though, because I obviously understood that number one, playing defense as a big in the NBA is hard in itself, to not
Mm-hmm.
foul, to not do any all of that stuff. Like it's hard. Like, and obviously I knew there's gonna be his rookie year isn't gonna go the best because he just hasn't played enough. He's not seasoned. He's he's a chicken with no seasoning on right now, fam. He's just not. It's not gonna be what you want. But at the same time, what I'm saying is what we have seen out of him has me saying that it's not a blown pick in any respect, and it's up to Steve Kerr to now go out there and make it work, because you're not going to put a second round draft pick into the guy, and then you can see that there's talent there, and then you don't try and extract the talent. You're that's your job as a coach.
But I
But
think I
yo,
think
but
you're
yo, here's the
mistaking
thing,
something,
right?
Chris. I think you're mistaken. You're assuming that the Warriors care to develop talent when they already have their roster. They're more concerned with winning as opposed to developing talent.
Right, that's the
If you
focus
didn't
right now.
care to develop the talent, you should have traded the draft pick.
No,
Or
no,
they
but
took the
nah,
best
but
talent
yo,
available,
the
hoping that they
focus,
can put him on the sidelines for three,
right?
4, 5 years, and then when the time
Yo,
comes,
this is
he'll
what
be
I'm saying. Yo,
semi-decent.
the focus right now for the Warriors is not developing talent. I'm not saying they don't care about it. I think they care about it. Obviously, they care about it. But the main focus is winning. After being one of the shittest teams in the league last year, they do not have the time to bring a man along. And when Clay comes back next year, and it's supposed to be Clay and Steph take the NBA back by storm, they're still not going to have the time. So at some point, while sitting on the bench, he's going to have to figure it out, and that's not easy. That's hard. And at some point, his confidence may be gone. By the time they're ready to give him the keys and say, "Yo, go out there and make your mistakes," his confidence might be shot, and then we'll never get a chance to see what he was supposed to be. Which is why, from off rip, I said this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you can look at the Warriors starting lineup and say they're only missing a center. What about the part where you don't use a center? What about the part where you had Andrew Bogut in there? You just using him to do handoffs. It doesn't. It
I don't
doesn't
know,
make
yo.
any
I
sense.
don't agree with it because I just don't. He's the man. I see the talent. To me, it's like, why would you then pick the guy if you know you're gonna waste him? Because this has
But I
nothing to
said
do.
that. But I said that off rip. That's
Yeah,
what I
but
said.
that's why I can't agree with it, because you can say this now because he's in his rookie year and he only played 3 games in college. You can say that now. I'm saying moving forward, how do you invest in that type of pick into this player that you're now telling me that you're not going to use? It's ridiculous. It's just stupid. Like, which
Yo, but
a
yo,
regular man on roads wouldn't do that. A
no, no, but
regular man on roads
no,
wouldn't
no,
do
no.
that.
But here's the thing, right? Because the Warriors are fighting two things. Here, you're gonna say if they don't play James Wiseman, it's stupid. But at the same time, if they're getting smoked out there, you're gonna be saying Steve Kerr's a fraud, Steph Curry's a fraud. So like,
No,
that's
but
what I'm saying. The most
fam,
important.
they're not playing James Wiseman right now, right? And they're still getting smoked.
Nah, but at least they're in the playoffs. Huh? I think. But so I'm saying is like, regardless, at some point they were good. They've had bad stretches. They've had good stretches. What I'm saying is, if they put James Wiseman out there as a rookie, as it should be, right? It's no fault on him. They're going to get smoked. They play this man 28 minutes a night, 30 minutes. That's the reason why he's not playing, right? It's gonna happen because he does not know how to play out there yet. So they're gonna like, what's more important for them? Not wasting whatever years they have left of Curry or developing James Wiseman. And I think those competing things are why you should have never drafted this guy and why I said it. I said you go get the guard who at the very least can come off your bench and do something for you. And if he's not playing defense, if Lamelo Ball's not playing defense, his team's not getting blown out by 30 every night because he's not the anchor. He's not the last guy. When James Wiseman can't guard pick and roll, as he should not be able to as a rookie, it's not his fault. But at the same time, you're not going to play him because mans are trying to win. That's what happens when you get drafted to a franchise that has Steph Curry and Steph Curry just in general. Which teams are picking this high with a Steph Curry? That doesn't happen. And that's what happens because now Maz don't have time for you. Steph Curry may think this guy's talented, but Maz don't have time for you to figure it out. Not when you have a Kevon Looney who's been here for X amount of years and can do it. He can't get a buck, can barely do anything out there, but at least he's not going to go out there and make similar mistakes that a rookie would make. And how is James Wiseman going to learn? On the bench? Can he learn on the bench, or does he need game time? Because I don't think that's coming anytime soon. So
Fair. Let's move forward. So next we got LaMelo Ball, third. And I think this is a rookie of the year. I think it's pretty much written in pen right now. But honestly, like, I wasn't that high on LaMelo, so I'll give it to Chris because I know that you were high. But like, personally, just speaking quickly, he is everything I thought he could have been, and he's a lot better, a lot faster. Because I never thought that he would have came in and had this type of impact. And the shooting is a lot better than I thought it was. The ball handling is a lot better than I thought it was. I knew he can play make, but the synergy with him and his teammates has come around a lot faster than most rookie point guards develop with their teammates, right? So like, I don't know if I'm making sense when I say this, but I think that he's just one of those players where he's infectious. Like, he's gonna bring a certain energy, and everybody follows suits, and you could see as clearly how they're playing the past couple games or even the entire season, right? The Hornets are on the up and come, and it's largely in part due to him. So I'll show it to you, Chris, because I know that's your boy still.
Yeah, hey fam, listen. Before the draft and whatever the case is, I said that if I had to pick, if I was Minnesota, I'm taking Lamelo Ball, and I never wavered on it because what I did know from Lamelo Ball is for all the criticism that he was getting, you know what that infectiousness is that you're speaking of? A guy that knows how to hoop, fam. A guy that fully understands how to play basketball. He's the complete opposite of what James Wiseman is as a big. For a guard to know his passing lanes, he doesn't even have that athleticism like Anthony Wiseman, where he can just, you know, pummel his way past a man. Nah, but he has the smarts to know the hezzy moves. You know what I'm saying? The handles, ball handler for a 6'8", 6'9" guard, off the charts, bro. Off the charts. His passing skills, his vision, his instincts on the rebounds, fam. This is a basketball player, bro. And me looking at him, I'm like, yeah, bro. Yes, he has been playing in Australia. He has been playing in his dad's basketball league, whatever the fuck that shit was called. But at the end of the day, bro, anytime I seen the man, I saw the feel on the court to say he can hoop. You know what I'm saying? And the only real thing for me was, is his athleticism enough to allow him to do the things that I feel like he can do? And so far, A plus, bro. A plus. I seen he understands how to play and how to maneuver himself to get to the basket against mismatches. He understands that he's a bigger guard. So even when he does get, even if there's a player on him when he's driving on another guard, he's so big, pause, and he has the touch to where his floater game, when he gets into the lane, he's floating it up. He's finding different points on the glass to lay the ball up. Fam, LaMelo Ball is going to be, you know, the player in this draft class for the foreseeable future, in my estimation. And this is one of those where I'm a wear the hat, fam. Like, I was on the LaMelo bandwagon when I was hearing that he may be sliding in the draft. All of that fuckery. You remember? Oh, he's a bad interview. Fam, can the man hoop? Can the man hoop, bro? All right.
KPJ could hoop too, but look how that turned out.
Now, but it wasn't a case where the man, people were saying that his head was gone. KPJ's head was gone. People were talking about LaMelo like, oh, he's a bad interview, and we don't know if he really loves the game.
Because he was coming from a circus, fam. Look at the dysfunction that followed him. I'm not saying that I'm disputing his talent. His talent was always on display, but let's not act like there wasn't a series of events that came with LaMelo. A whole
There was
rigmarole
fam,
of circus events. Like, it was wild.
here's the thing, right? If I'm drafting at the top of the draft, number one, what I want to see is the talent. Number one, the number two is what I want to see is how much potential does this guy have and how high is the ceiling going to go? Those two questions were definitely in LaMelo's favor to me, which is why him talking about he's going to be sliding and all that fuckery, bro. Shout out to Michael Jordan for not letting those type of talks deter him from doing what he was supposed to do.
Yo, Melo's been great still. 16, 6, and 6. Like, His efficiency is great for a rookie, shooting almost 38% from deep. He's been great. Like it's the energy that he brings to that team. He's essentially made that team fun to watch, right? I do not subscribe to the fact that the only reason why this team is winning games now is like it's just him, because they also added Hayward. Rozier took a big step. So it's not just him, but he's a big part of it, because what he's doing out there on the offensive side of the ball, he's rebounding, as Chris said, passing. It's just fun, man. Like you look and you just want to be a part of that team. Like that. He has Miles Bridges playing way better this year, and that's solely because of him. Like they have chemistry on the court there, and the Hornets lucked up because they've had bad draft history in a while, right? They picked third, and to get Lamelo Ball, a guy that looks like he can be a star in this thing for a very long time, is amazing. When they first expanded, they took Emeka Okafor, and that man is out the league in like 8 years, right? So they've had a bad history. Malik Monk, like they've had a very bad history, and for them to get this, it's just it's just just don't fuck it up. That's all I'd say to Mike. Just don't fuck it up. Like just let this kid grow. I firmly understood him coming off the bench. The man forced his way into the starting lineup naturally, and you keep it that way. And he's hooping still. He's got everything. If there's a wall coming, that's cool. Like he already ran away with the rookie of the year. Still, Ant-Man's not doing enough. He hasn't done enough consistently to warrant him contending. If the season ended today, it's unanimous for Ball, in my opinion.
Facts. So I guess what we can do now is, I guess I'll just do a quick round so everybody just kind of pick one prospect, because that was the consensus top 3. I guess we could each just take a prospect and kind of assess where they're at right now. So I'll start. I'm going to go with Cole Anthony. I'm so disappointed in Cole Anthony, man. I'm so disappointed in Cole Anthony. Like
disappointed. What did you think he was supposed to do?
Yo, the thing about it,
I feel like he's above expectations.
No. Because here's the thing, right? I feel like he's following the Austin Rivers trajectory. It's like this guy in high school, and I'm not gonna put too much. Sorry.
That was what he was supposed to be.
No. But I'm saying I'm not gonna put too much emphasis on what he was in high school. But what I seen in high school, right? I was amazed. And then when he went to UNC, I'm like, okay, yeah, your team's dog shit, but you're doing everything you can. Like, you know what I mean? You're trying everything. You just don't have the pieces. And then you come to the NBA. I'm like, all right, cool. They're going to ease you in behind Fultz or whatever. Fultz goes down and you're just blah. Like, even if he was out there just doing what he was doing and he was shooting piss poor from the field, but he was trying and just going all out.
I think he played well still.
Nah, I need more from him, bro. I need more from him. I'm watching him and you're just dead end. Like, you're just out there. Like you're not forcing the issue. You're not pushing the envelope. Like I would even think that right now, given Orlando's current state, this is the time for you to go out there and make your mistakes and earn your stripes. And he's just going through the motions. I'm like, yo, bro, you were supposed to be.
Well, he got hurt.
True, but going into the season, like the college season, he was a consensus top 5 pick. Things happened at UNC, and you kind of fell out of love with that. And
then he looked real Dennis Smitty. So looking like a Dennis Smith Jr. out there, and he's sort of falling faster than a rock off a fucking cliff. Fam, listen, nah, bruh. He after what you've seen at UNC, sorry, yeah, UNC. After what you saw from UNC, fam, we knew what time it it was with this guy. Like to me, I 100% just looked at him and said, he's a Dennis Smith Jr. Simple. And what was Dennis Smith Jr. doing in the league? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't doing shit. So the mere fact that he was out here playing, and he had a good few moments out there where I can say, and he's a good dude as well. Like I know he's gonna work hard. I know he's gonna do everything that he possibly can to be a good player. So he's one of those guys where I'm not gonna say I'm disappointed. To me, it's a plus. I'm not even gonna front. Like I thought he was asshole, and he hasn't been asshole. So like I don't know.
Maybe it's just me then. I don't know.
I got Patrick Williams as my guy that I'm gonna talk about. Like I think he's been great. Just he's the type of guy you want on your team if your team is winning. Like he doesn't do too much out there. He rebounds. He's shot very well. He's shooting 40% from deep. Like I just see a guy that can kind of turn into an Otto Porter. Not the washed up one who's still like 28 years old, but the one from like 3 years ago. I think there's a lot of promise in him. I think he's going to get a bigger opportunity next year when some of those guys leave, and he can play the 3, he can play the 4. I just like what I see, and I think similar to Sadiq Bey, like he can hit shots, right, and he can do a lot of things that are very valuable in this league. You'll get paid a lot of money doing that shit. So that's my guy. I think he's flown under the radar, but he's been consistent all year on a very bad team.
For me, my guy, and Maz already know who has to be. After I said LaMelo Ball, my next guy was Tyrese. And yes, Tyrese has been having a little rough patch after he came off of his injury. But the body of work this season has shown that I was definitely correct. Absolutely correct. The guy's out there. I said, has he ever shown us anything where we say that he can't shoot? Oh, but the form and comes out, lights out shooter out the gate. You know what I'm saying? He's not getting to the basket. That's the one thing that he has to fix in this coming off season,
He can't get to
because
the rim.
there's no reason why you're out there and you're allergic. It's like you've been vaccinated from the fucking free throw line. It can't happen like that. So that's the one thing that he has to change. But other than that, he's everything that I thought he could be beside a guy like Darren Fox. Clean up all the defensive mistakes however you can. Be a great help defender. Get into the passing lanes. Get your blocks. He's a great passer. Great in transition. Great spot up shooter. Like, fam, in every way, I'm saying Tyrese Halliburton has been the guy that I thought he could be. I don't really know how far he can scale upwards. That's the one thing that I can say as well. Like, I don't see how he becomes one of like a preeminent guard in the league. I think that he's approaching his cap when he starts. He's going to settle around like 16 points a game, 5 and 5 for his entire career, in my estimation. I don't see him taking it beyond there. But that's a pretty damn good player if you have that beside a lead guard that can go out there and push the envelope like a Darren Fox.
I think he's been pretty shit since he came back from injury, like bad, right? Like the turnovers, he's been like, I've watched him a lot. I've watched probably all their games since the All-Star break, and like he's been very bad, right? But prior to that, he was great. His 3-point shooting has also fallen off a cliff, right? It was already at an unsustainable level to begin with for me, so I'm kind of looking to see where it rounds out towards the end of the season. And I don't want Mans to tell me about what he did pre-All-Star break or what he did post-All-Star break. I just want to see the full 72-game schedule, because he started seeing he was shooting upwards of like 45% from 3, and now it's down to 41, and he can't hit anything right now. So when it all averages out, what are we talking about? What type of shooter are we talking about? I'm not 100% sold that he can't shoot the ball from 3. I'm not 100% sold. I can't say he can't, because he's definitely shown to do it so far, but I need a full season. I may even need more than that for me to be 100% on board with it. But even aside from the 3-point shooting, if he can't shoot, like he's shown he can do things out there. He can pass. He can play on the pick and roll. He's active on defense. I won't say he's a good defender yet. He's active. It's the least you can ask for from a rookie, where he's showing promise in that aspect. He's fairly efficient. As Chris said, like he can't get to the rim. Before he even gets to the free throw line, like he can't get layups. Like he struggles to get to the rim. I think it's due to a lack of athleticism. He's a bigger guard, but like without the athleticism, like you're no better than a 6-footer out there if you can't figure out ways to get creative and get past your guy. But where they got him at is an absolute steal, right? He's second in win shares for rookies. Like you can't ask for anything more. And again, it's just sad for me, because I liked him. I liked him coming out of college. It's just sad for me that he ended up with the Kings, because he'll never win a game.
I like him a lot, just because I feel like one thing that the Kings needed is that they needed to spark some competition, because some of these guys out there looking like their mediocre play was just becoming the constant. Like since he came in, and granted he slowed down a little bit, but he's lit a fire under Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield knows the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. And ever since then, he's been slapping 5, 6, 7, 8 trays a game. Like he's been going out there playing like a madman, because he knows his job's on the line, right? So like I really like what he's brought to the team. Obviously, like he for a rookie, he's performed really well. As Chris said, my only criticism that I had coming in is I didn't think the jump shot would have went down, and it has fallen, but that's still up for debate. And 2, I didn't know how much better he would have gotten, just because he wasn't a freshman and he played in a conference where a lot of the players he was going against weren't necessarily, I'm not going to say they weren't good players,
but
Yeah, they weren't amazing
Not
competition
NBA
that
time.
year in the Big Ten. But yeah, like he's good. Like I don't know what more you would want from a rookie, especially going to the Kings. Because if I was a rookie and they told me that I'm going to Sacramento, first of all, they told me I'm going to Cali, I'd be excited, and then they told me I'm going to Sacramento, I'd be pissed. So like,
Because you're
even the
going up north, that'd
motivation
be
to even
cheese.
wake up every day and go play in Sacramento, knowing you're at the bottom of the table, no matter how you play, and just the dysfunction of the organization, for him to go out there and actually be performing. Granted, he went to not Iowa. Was it Iowa? Iowa State?
Yeah.
He went somewhere.
Yeah, Iowa, yeah.
Iowa State, yeah. So yeah,
He went to Iowa, yeah.
no, Iowa
Yes.
State. Yeah, like you honestly, he just looks like maybe one of those guys that just brings the lunch pill and goes to work. It's not with the extras. You know what I mean? And that's what Sacramento needs. And I don't know if he's going to be a long-term starter. I don't know.
He's definitely a long-term starter.
I don't know.
Yo, I
don't know.
I kind of see him. I kind of see him as Alonzo Ball. Whereas if you have a ball dominant guard, right? If you put him in there, he's gonna fit nice, right? As long as you can hit your shots, you're gonna play defense. If you get the ball, you can run pick and roll. Yeah. You're not gonna ask. You're never gonna ask this guy to drop 20. And that's the thing I don't like about some of these teams. Sometimes they get these players like where obviously you're never gonna look at a guy if you have him and say your potential is limited, right? You're obviously gonna think that he can achieve the highest of the highs, but I don't like when teams start to force guys into positions where they never shown that they can thrive in, right? And I don't think the Sacramento Kings are going to have to do that. Go ahead.
You remember SGA when he was a rookie, dropping 11 points a game?
Yeah.
And he's a similar type of build as Halliburton. I think SGA is like 6'5", Halliburton is like 6'6", and they're both super long paws. Like it's similar, and SGA doesn't have the most fluid jump shot either, but he's going out there dropping 24 a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
on
I think
on
he kind of
50% shooting.
But yeah, but I don't think
garbage around him. Like
I don't think they forced him to do that though. Like I feel like I don't think anyone expected this guy to be 24. I don't think OKC expected this guy to be 24 a game when they traded for him. Right? I'm not saying it can't happen, but what I'm saying is like next year, I don't think the Kings should just put the ball in this guy's hand and say, "Go get me 20." Is what I'm saying, right? I don't think they even asked him to do that last year.
I wouldn't say he couldn't do it. I'm saying like for me, my projection would be like a 16 points per game guy for like the prime of his career. But I'm just saying like because SGA is a very similar case to me.
Yeah, definitely.
But see, I disagree.
I think he did a lot less as a rookie.
Yeah, I disagree because I think. And again, this is probably speaking to Kentucky, like at how well they run the program. Like Kentucky always puts out guys with untapped potential. Because Shea was literally a backup point guard in Kentucky and ended up transitioning to the starting lineup. And he started as a backup, and then he started the season later on. Yes, he did. Google it. He started as a backup, and then he transitioned to the starting lineup. And then on top of that,
for what, 2 games?
Nonetheless, he started as a backup and he transitioned to the starting lineup. And then on top of that, he was a freshman, and he was playing against better competition. Whereas if you look at Tyrese went through his freshman season, wasn't really saying much. He was good, and then transitioned and won. I think he won Big Ten Player of the Year in his conference that second year. So that was literally the height of his play. Like I didn't think there was that much untapped potential. All-American who? Who's All-American?
SGA.
Yeah, because he started it in the season. I don't understand what you're saying. Anyways,
no, fam. Keep bringing the flowers to Kentucky, fam. Just keep it up, fam.
This guy, man.
Bring the flowers, fam.
All I'm saying is I don't think it's a fair comparison because I feel like Shea had a lot of untapped potential that teams and players saw, whereas like we pretty much seen Tyrese play at the height of his. Like we seen what he was capable.
They both
of doing.
2011 though.
Yeah, because he was a steady player.
Man, it's kind of unfair to say that seniors people are doing. So I think, I get what you're saying in terms. Like, I think we're all in agreement that like we don't know how to look at this guy as a star. Like, we don't necessarily see him as a star, but that's fine. That's fine. The Lonzo Balls are valuable too, fam. Like, if you see the team like the Clippers out there trying to get him, those guys are valuable. If them by themselves can't win you games, but if you put them in a situation that's just right there, they can put you over the top. So pause. But yeah, he's been great still. That's it for me.
Yeah. You guys have anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Trade deadline week. Honestly, as an NBA fan, I can't help myself, but this is one of my favorite times of the year still.
Let's get
I
overamped.
wouldn't be able to rank it, but trade deadline is definitely in my top 5 of times in an NBA calendar season for sure.
Every year, mans talk about how nice the deadline is going to be, and then they complain when nothing happens. All the rumors that we heard through the entire season, when none of them really come to fruition, mans complain every year. So I'm not one of them. Obviously, it's exciting. Like, I hope some shit happens, but I don't go into the same situation every year thinking the same thing to get disappointed still.
Yeah, for me, trade deadline is going to be interesting. I know PJ Tucker just got moved, but that really doesn't mean much for me. But
means something for the Bucks, though. That's a good
does it?
pickup for them.
It is, but
It does.
like
A corner three, he's made the most corner threes in the last 5 seasons, fam.
cool.
And that's what you need. Like, nah, that's great. That's a great pickup for them.
I don't know. Trade deadline for me is not really that exciting because I feel like at the end of the day, like I'm not even a fan of making mid-season moves like that anyway.
Yeah.
We already know where we stand on that. So
Yeah.
Like, if it was up to you, there would be none that ever happens.
Yo,
So
ride the ship,
I
fam.
get you.
Ride the ship, fam. Let's see where this finishes and then reassess. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, this is a conversation for a different day. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys. It is the Hardwood Report, available on all streaming platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, whatever you listen to, we're on there. Also on YouTube and TikTok. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna try to raise the engagement, hopefully with a giveaway sooner rather than later. Make sure you guys share the content. Never hoard a good thing, because we do want to get that out there to everybody. Whoever's willing to listen, make sure you download it. Do whatever you need to do, because at the end of the day, it really does help the content. It helps us get the product out there as much as possible. But until next time, we'll talk to you guys.